Good morning, everybody. Today is going to be a cooler kind of a day. We're expecting rain to break out any time now, within the next half hour at least. And so I thought that since we have the wood stove going anyway, that it would be a good day to make my famous Smokey bean and bacon soup. If you like bacon, you're going to like this soup. So let's get started. I've made this soup with various beans over the years, and lately we've been using a bean that is known as pea bean, P-E-A bean, and it's a nice size, small though, white bean, and it's a great bean for soups. And we've been getting these. I've never grown pea beans. We have grown and used Kentucky Wonders, and we've also used Hutterite. Hutterite beans are actually my very favorite beans for this soup. And we have grown those, but lately we've not been growing beans. We probably should. But we've been using these so-called pea beans. Now what you want to do, I did it last night, yesterday, I soaked. I soaked ahead of time 4 cups of the pea beans in this big mixing bowl. And they've been soaking for about 24 hours. So they should be good to go. Alright, so let's get on to the bacon step. For a soup pot, we're going to be using this big cast iron. You could call it a Dutch oven, and I call it a soup pot, but it's billed as a Dutch oven. And we use this a lot at the campfire when we're cooking outdoors. It's, I guess, because it's black and you can't tell where it's been charred. So I use this for beef stew and the bean soup and maybe a couple of other soups. This other Dutch oven here is one that I like to bake sourdough bread in. So this winter when we start baking bread, you'll see me use this Dutch oven. And this is Danielle's go-to Dutch oven for soups. We're going to start off with 2 tables of butter. And 2 tablespoons of oil. Olive oil in this case. Remember, this is going to be a rich and creamy soup. A short word about buying your bacon. We try to get what's called bacon ends and pieces. You can actually buy it in a package. Look, that's wonderful bacon right there. That's wonderful meat. And so you can, if you have a good butcher shop, you can usually buy what's called bacon ends and pieces. So if you buy those, you can save $1 or $2. So when we buy a half a pig twice a year, and it always comes with a couple packages of bacon ends and pieces, and I usually confiscate those right away, and I go off and make myself a soup. But they're usually long gone, so we have to go back to the a butcher shop and then buy some bacon ends and pieces, which we did the other day, knowing that I was going to make this soup. And so if you don't have to use bacon ends and pieces, you can just buy regular bacon and use that in your soup, chop that up. So we're going to use about 12 ounces of bacon, and of course that's up to you. It's your soup. I'm fond of saying it's your soup, it's your salad or whatever, and you can use whatever you want. But I usually use about 12 ounces in this size of a soup, and so we're just going to slice these pieces or cut these pieces into small pieces. About like that is what I go for. Remember, they will shrink when you start cooking them in the cast iron. there's the bacon all sliced up now, ready to go to the cast iron. A sharp knife is very essential for cutting meat like this, as you can see. And all I can say is thank you, Celtic Fiddle. There we go. Very sharp knife. We'll put our meat right in the cast iron Dutch oven. I like to cook in cast iron, and I also like to use wooden utensils. This big spoon is something that I hand carved out of a piece of firewood that I was stacking one day. I came across a piece of highly figured wood, and I said that would make a beautiful spoon. So we're going to fry up this bacon. That's our next step. We've had some viewers write to ask us to give some pointers and suggestions for when you cook on a wood cook stove. Well, right here I can tell you one suggestion, and that is that when you are cooking on a wood cook stove, you don't have dials that you can turn the flame up or turn the burner higher and hotter. You don't have that. It's just a wood stove. So how do you control that temperature? Well, these wood stoves are also known as ranges. You may have heard that term in relation to a stove or an oven. And the idea there is that because the fire is directly below this particular hot zone, if you move your cooking pot away from that hot zone, you can lessen the heat. So they call it, you have a range of heat areas or hot zones. And if you want to, if this starts to get really hot, I can pull it right off to the side like that. Then it's half off the hot zone now. Another thing I can do is we have a couple of trivets. This is one trivet. Here's another one. And we can actually, if things are getting hot, we can actually put our cast iron right on that trivet. Or if we really want to slow it down, we can put it on the higher trivet, like that. So those are just some tips for managing your heat when you're cooking on a wood cook stove. For our soup, we're going to make a little bit of a chicken soup stock. And I start off with a quart of water in a pan. And then I usually use the equivalent of about 3 teaspoons in that water. I should tell you that I should show you what we're using for our soup stock. It's a brand that we have settled on. It's called Better Than Bouillon. And we get this in both chicken, beef, or vegetarian soup stock. This particular brand of soup stock has a lot of salt in it. So we recommend not adding extra salt to your soup if you're going to use this. Our bacon is coming along quite nicely. Give that a little bit longer and it'll be done. Into the soup also, we're going to put a couple stalks of celery, a couple of carrots, and some onion, all that came from our garden. These onions are our wonderful Elsa Craig onions. We love them so much. Bacon is looking pretty good. It's just about finished. Our bacon is done now, so I'm going to transfer it to a plate. Now we're going to transfer our veg into the pot. We'll let that soften up about 5 minutes. So into the pot went the equivalent of 1 full-size onion, 2 carrots, and 2 stalks of celery. We'll just let that soften up in that nice, luxurious bacon grease, butter, and olive oil. Comfort food. While we're waiting for the vegetables to soften a bit, we're going to rinse and drain our beans. And so we'll add our beans right to our soup pot. Give this a nice blending. Into our soup, we're going to put 2 teaspoons of Italian seasoning. I don't know what Italian seasoning is, but Danielle does, and she makes it for me. A little bit of ground pepper, but no salt. I think we're going to do that heat adjustment trick that I told you about. We're going to put this little trivet underneath our pot. Slow it down a little bit. You can probably hear the difference already. There, that sounds better. We're also going to dump our bacon back in. You have to admit that's looking pretty good. We're going to start off with our quart of soup stock that we made, but then we're going to be adding a little bit extra water. Now it's time to add our soup stock. There you are. Just going to stir this to combine, and we're going to let this simmer for about 45 minutes to an hour, whatever you can do. You can go off and do something. I'll probably work on firewood for about an hour if it's not raining too hard, and then come back and check it. I want this to achieve a nice simmer though. Okay, I just added another quart of water, and I'm going to let this simmer. And I'm going to let some of that water cook off. We don't want it too soupy, but you can manage how soupy or thick you want it yourself. And we'll check back in about an hour or so And we'll be adding some parsley plus a secret flavor ingredient that I'm going to share with you. So make sure you check back, make sure you stay tuned to see the end. We'll give our soup a little stir here. It's been simmering. I actually got involved in something else, so it's been simmering, oh gosh, about 2.5 hours. But it's not finished yet. Now on to the secret ingredient that I told you about. We're going to give it about a tablespoon of freshly squeezed lemon juice. And the other part of our secret ingredient is some chopped lemon rind, or lemon peel if you want to call it that. So that's all of the ingredients to our soup. This soup has to cook a little bit longer. We need those beans to be done, even though they've been soaking for 24 hours. It's going to be a little while yet, maybe tonight, before we can actually eat this soup. A lot of people make these soups with canned beans, and if that's the case, you'd be able to eat it by now. But I like to start with dry beans. So that's all of the ingredients, but I do one more step. I like to use the wand, and I like to wand this soup to break up the beans and even the vegetables. That's only going to stand to reason that you're going to be wanding the vegetables also, because they're in there all together. But I like to just puree this a little bit, not entirely. We don't want to lose the definition of the ingredients. But to me, it just goes a long ways to making this a more enjoyable soup. So here we go. We don't want to make baby food out of it. We just want to break it up a bit. Alright, I think our soup is about ready. I'm going to give it a sample try here. We're going to have it for supper tonight, but I just want to sample it for now. Make sure that it's good to go. I think it looks wonderful. A little hint about working with wood stoves, cooking with wood stoves, is I highly recommend that you have a good pair of gloves nearby. It helps you with your firewood and with handling the lids of kettles and so forth. Anyway, let's take this soup over to the table and try it out. Here we go. This is going to be wonderful. It looks delicious. And the carrot, a few shards of carrot in your bowl of soup, the color, the contrast of color really makes it really sets it off. And if you make your soup with dry beans, you have to allow a lot more time to cook it. But if you buy your beans in a can, you can probably cut your cooking time down greatly. I'll tell you what, if you saw me put the lemon juice and the lemon rind in there, that little step right there makes all the world of a difference. It's just outstanding. It just gives a little bit of a flavor spark. And I highly recommend it. Don't skip that step of the lemon juice and the lemon rind. Boy, this is really good. You take a chilly, rainy day like today, you've got the wood stove going. Really hits the spot. We made some biscuits to go with it. We're going to have this for supper tonight. I'm just giving it a trial sampling. And it's really, really good. So I highly recommend that you try this one. And leave a comment down below in the comment section if you do try it. Let me know how it turns out for you. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye. Yeah, I know.